Have you ever heard of an old PC game called Theatre? Yeah, I didn't think so. It's probably because most people say it doesn't even exist. The Theatre itself is an old PC game, released around the same time as the original Doom. Today, if you ever come across it, you'll probably most likely find it on crappy bootleg CD-ROMs. More likely, those copies don't even have the game on it in the first place. As for the legitimate copies, if you ever end up finding one, they just have a blank piece of paper for the cover artwork, with a small sprite of what is known as the ticket taker on the front. The sprite itself appears to be a male, but really badly drawn in a pixelated art style, with a blank expression, in fact, no expression for that matter, wearing a red suit and black pants, and some say if you smash the disc, his face changes to an angry expression, despite his lack of expression or face otherwise. But most people just dismiss that as an urban legend. As for the disc and the case itself, what's odd about the game is that there's no company listed on the case. In fact, as for the game's production and company, when booting the game, that's not even listed either on the title screen. And as for the rest of the jewel case, there's no description on the back. The cover itself is just the ticket taker and nothing else. When the game was originally released, it was notorious for being rather difficult to install, the user's computer always locking up at the user license agreement. Another thing odd about the user license agreement is that any time in the text where a company would be mentioned, it would just be a blank line. Anyway, most people who own the original CDs have claimed that they've figured out how to install it without any computer locking up, or by simply rebooting the system on the user license agreement with the disk still inside their computer, to which they are prompted to press I agree upon startup, and then the game installs. The game opens up with nothing of note besides the main menu screen, but even then it just has what appears to be an image of a theatre's exterior. And then after a short pause, the title and the menu buttons appear, fading onto the screen. New game, load, and options. Selecting options crashes the game to the desktop, and some say the load button doesn't even work at all, thus rendering those two options unavailable, and new game being the only option. And even if you do have a save game, the load button doesn't even work regardless. Once new game is selected, the game opens up with the player in first-person view. You're standing in a dark movie theatre, with the only other person in the room being the ticket taker himself, standing behind a black entranceway, assumedly leading to the theatres themselves. The only thing separating the player and the ticket taker is the slightly long hallway in between, aligned with various unidentifiable movie posters, all a bit crushed and made in poor quality. If the player decides to approach the ticket taker, a very low quality audio file plays. Thank you. Please enjoy the movie. Along with a speech box saying the same thing. The player then walks forward into the darkness, and after a short pause, they appear back at the entranceway of the hallway once more. And the player does the exact same thing again and again and again. While this may sound like a really bad game, the more you play it, the more peculiar things start to happen. The amount of times you have to walk through the hall, giving the ticket taker your ticket, is unknown. Most state that it's unknown, and some say that it can happen on the first or 400th playthrough. But what happens though, said that it deeply disturbs some players. The first oddity is after the first return back to the hall, the player will notice that the ticket taker is completely absent. The player, without any other options, decides to walk into the dark hallway, although the sound clip and text box still play, despite the absence of the ticket taker. However, this time, the screen doesn't fade to black. Instead, the player keeps walking into the pitch black dark hallway. with the player's footstep sound effects still playing as they push up on their keyboard. Those who have claimed to play the original game report that they felt extremely uncomfortable whilst walking down that dark hallway, anticipating the whole way that something horrible will happen. Well, eventually the player is unable to move forward. Nothing happens for a few moments before a sprite of what appears to be the ticket taker, with a swirl for a face, appears in front of them. Players of the original game claimed that upon seeing this screen, their bodies froze up and their stomachs churned. Upon seeing the screen, to which it has been appropriately named the Swirly Head Man. Nothing happens for a few moments as the Swirly Head Man stands before the player. However, shortly after a few minutes, a loud screech echoes through the player's computer speakers as the game begins to glitch out. The screeching happens for a few minutes before the player is abruptly returned back to the lobby, the game's graphics and sounds returning to how they should be, and the next few cycles remain as they were before with no glitches or disturbances. Returning to the hallway, while some of the original players claim that they could see the Swirly Head Man in the corner of their eyesight as they went down the hall once again, as a brisk yelp sound effect plays. Then, after seeing the Swirly Head Man, the player sees the ticket taker now pacing back and forth. Although there is no animation, the sprite itself remaining static, so as a result, the ticket taker hops up and down as a substitute, with another, albeit rare, expression of his eyes open with a worried look on his face. While some players noticed that the movie posters had been replaced with images of the Swirly Head Man, immediately turned their character's head away from the posters, and then they approached the ticket taker. Then another low-quality sound clip plays. However, the text box has scrambled text, all with glitched characters, meaning whatever text that was supposed to be there was now illegible. Due to the low quality of this sound clip, it's often debated by players what the ticket taker says at this point. However, it's widely agreed that he says at this point, "Never reach the other levels." Then the screen fades out, returning the player to the starting point of the lobby. However, this time, the ticket taker is gone, and the hallway is blocked by a large brick wall sprite. Touching the wall immediately crashes the game, and that's about it, with no one knowing what the other levels are, and no one knows even how to access them, nor is it known why the Swirly Head Man causes such acute fear in players upon seeing him. All the original copies of the game had been destroyed, and the creepiest part? People who claim to have played the original copy of the game afterwards say that they see the Swirly Head Man out of the corner of their eye